Ain't that crazy? Baby. Oops. I'm an old person. I'm an old person, y'all. Don't charge it to my head, not my heart. Hey, how's it going? How's it going? Come on in. Come on in. Mm, mm. Make sure to bring somebody into it. If you are in it, put somebody else on. It's Money Monday Live. So we are about to get into economic empowerment 101. So be sure to share this live with somebody while I figure out how to do the same thing without closing the live again. There we go. Thomas, I'm not getting my hot cocoa, am I? So today's live, I alluded to it earlier when I went live about other stuff, but this live is about to be about economic education and some fundamental ways that we have to learn to invest um, that we don't realize. So that's what this live is about to be. Um, Once I figure out how to do this right, y'all. So just bear with me half a second more. Okay, I think I figured it out. Boom, there we go. How's everybody doing? Put a one in the comments if you can hear me, if everything sounds right, if I don't sound robotic or crazy or none of that stuff. We went through some technical hiccups, so I want to make sure everything's working right, right, right. Oops, did I mean to do that? So yeah, if you can hear me and I sound fine and I don't sound crazy, um, put a one in the chat. Awesome. Thomas, did you find the other phone? Yeah, we technically supposed to be live on TikTok too, but apparently a phone got lost today. Okay, so today's live is about to be fun, and it's about to be about our core business model, which is economic empowerment. Please don't be knocking into the cameras, man, cameraman. You feel me? All right. so, 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 like I was saying, today's live is about to be about economic empowerment. Um, and more importantly, investing. So, there are three fundamental things that should be invested in, and I do not believe that people realize the value of. Those three things are information, resources, and opportunities. Those are three very, very fundamental things that really do change the trajectory of where you're at versus where you can go. And so, I'm gonna give you some examples. I love examples. One, because it allows for you to see how it's significant, how it's conducive to real life. Two, I think it just makes it easier for any concept to be um, understood in a fundamental way. Yeah, that's what tonight's live is about. It ain't about none of that other stuff that we normally be doing. It's about economic empowerment. That's why I said y'all better bring somebody in here. So, three fundamental ways to invest are information, resources, opportunities. Let's start with the first one, information, right? Great reason to invest in information, right? And information can drastically vary. No, I don't want to start with information. I want to start with resources. I want to start with resources. I like the idea of investing in resources a little bit better as the first one, right? Resources they vary from industry to industry, person to person. For us, resources for the context of this live are going to be things that give you leverage, right? Things that give you leverage or allow for you to be able to tangibly progress from where you are to another state of progression, right? So what would a resource be that everybody could equally tap into? A great resource, as an example, would be credit, right? Credit cards, a credit card, approval for a credit card, a high balance credit card, i.e., let's start a round number to keep it simple. $10,000. $10,000 credit card becomes a resource, right? Because in the middle of the pandemic, at the height of the pandemic, where people weren't sure how long it was going to take for after that first little $1,200, right, went out, people were unsure of how long it was going to take for the next stimulus bill to pass. They were unsure of how long it was going to take for their unemployment to be improved. The supplemental pay amount would be to be determined, yada, yada, yada. What type of resource will come into play to kind of benefit you? $10,000 credit card may be able to hold you off for a couple of months while they politically play games with your livelihood, right? That little $10,000 could have went a long way. Or say you're an entrepreneur, right? That $10,000 could possibly be the leverage, right? Because in business, the deposit always comes before the withdrawal. And so what that means is, as much as people pretend you can be in business for absolutely free, scalable businesses, sustainable businesses are seldom capable of existing for nothing. Maybe low cost, upfront cost, but it's seldom ever capable of existing for nothing. You have to have something to contribute to it, right? So a $10,000 credit card could go a long way. It becomes a resource if you use it with the right strategies, with the right information, with the right plan of action to align with it. It only becomes, or it becomes a resource because, right, you can literally monetize having it without ever using it, right? Because some of the things we've discussed before is the fact that you can rent trade lines where people want to piggyback off of the credit worthiness you already reflect to generate their own, to develop or grow on their own credit worthiness, right? So it becomes a resource in two ways. It becomes a resource for other people that are still just trying to get their foot in the door at approval of maybe a $2,000 credit card, $1,800 credit card, $5,000 credit card. Meanwhile, you have a $10,000 one, right? Or it becomes literally tangible money, swipe wherever you need to go. So that becomes a resource. You invest in that, though. You have to understand that requires an investment of its own. It requires investing in structuring your credit or building your credit in a way where it develops credit worthiness to get you approved for a 10K car. It requires investing in the knowledge it requires to possibly repair your credit, right? It requires understanding what types of credit agencies may be the best to tap into to even develop the credit worthiness to get the approval for a $10,000 card versus a $1,000 or $1,500 card. That all of that, right? The time in the event you have some stuff in your credit report that is derogatory or negative or just came with young ignorance or innocence or ignorance or whatever, right? It requires the time, investing in the time to even understand how credit works so you can be able to leverage credit as a resource on the back end, right? So that's, if y'all are still with me, put a 3 in the chat because I feel like credit is a trifecta, but we start in there because I feel like it is something that genuinely does allow for something to come from nothing in a sense, to an extent, right? So if y'all still here with me, put a 3 in the chat. I want to make sure that one then just boop, go over nobody's head. Okay, awesome. So then the next thing, right? So you can invest in credit or a resource. In this example, I use credit because it's simple, it's straight to the point, and everybody understands how it impacts them in one way or the other at this point. Your insurance, your approval rates, your eligibility for a whole lot of stuff. Hell, at this point, it even impacts you being able to apply for employment in certain places. They won't hire you if they think your credit portfolio shows that you can be a risk to the company's sustainability or security or things of that nature. If they think you can be bought off because you got bad credit, that can be literally a deal breaker. Okay, so resources. Investing in credit is going to be the resource we talk about. Investing in information. Investing in information. While credit kind of can be an information source if you still need to learn it and things, I would say investing in information is more so tapping into what you don't know that you don't even know. So information is going to be possibly somebody's expertise, right? So you're trying to buy a house, right? You can technically buy a house on your own. You technically don't need a realtor or a property manager or any of that involved in the house buying process. However, do you understand how real estate contracts work? Do you understand how what you need to factor in to the negotiation process? Do you understand what fees are the base fee versus the additional fees that come with that? Do you understand how to assess the market value or do appraisal? Do you understand if you are agreeing to an offer that is over leveraging you or leveraging you upside down for the property? Do you understand how to assess the property adequately for possible repairs and things of that nature that will factor in? No, right? More often than not, you don't. More often than not, when you're first starting out with your first home, with your first whatever, you don't know what you don't know. So you see how it looks, right? You are able to assess the cosmetic things, but typically, it's the info that you don't know that will have you upside down. I'm gonna give y'all a prime example. There was this person living in DC. I read an article about it recently. Maybe it was a couple of months ago. I don't know. It was a person living in DC, and she talked about how she had got this newly built townhome on this block. And the article was about the fact that she had almost a 1 foot wide crack in her foundation, right? And she didn't realize until over the course of some time that it was even there, right? But she had a newly built home. So with a newly built home, you assume everything's fine. You assume everything's going to pass inspection. It's going to have the best quality, especially in today's time, right? But meanwhile, here we are a year and a half into her having this house, this brand new, newly built home, and it was an issue. It wasn't just a almost 1 foot wide crack in her foundation at this point. It was a crack in almost every foundation of each townhome on that block. And about a year and a half ago, a lot of people were they were buying properties above market value and forfeiting inspections. They were forfeiting a lot of their legal rights that would have gave them permission to back out of the deal just to get their offer accepted. And what I mean by their offer accepted, I mean they put in an offer for the house is going for $100,000. They put in an offer for $110,000. They're waiving the inspections. They're waiving anything that could have been a red flag to put a stop to the process, to make sure that when their offer gets seen on paper, the seller says yes. Right? Because it was super hard to even get a yes, because it was so competitive and way more people were looking to buy something than there were properties to be sold. Then this person didn't know what they didn't know. They didn't realize they could agree to a home right now on a 30-year mortgage just to be existent in an inhabitable set of circumstances in a couple of months without the professional information that a realtor, an informed, knowledgeable, experienced realtor could have been able to contribute to that situation, right? They may have said, hey, you can put a small contingency that in the event there, or you could at least put a warranty in place where it protects you from these types of things going on if you're going to forego the upfront inspection just to get approved, right? And so that's where you invest in the info, right? Because the realtor is going to cost you something. You're investing by having a realtor, you're investing a portion of the amount that you're going to pay to be paid to this person. And so, or you may pay them on the front end for other stuff like, hey, can you appraise these properties? Hey, can you assess the market value? Hey, can you, it's little things they can do, oversee the contract, blah, 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 right? However, it's the information they possess, the expertise they possess, the knowledge they possess, the things that you don't know that's worth paying for. And it's fundamentally necessary to invest in that in your professional arena. It's fundamentally necessary to invest in that as you grow, as you make progress, in whatever it is, whether it's finances, whether it's business, whether it's professional, whether it's educational pursuits. You have to invest in the information that gets you from your current point of knowledge to the next level you're trying to get to. And a lot of people don't just invest in information for the sake of saying that they invested in it. They invest in it because you invest in the information. You invest in the information from the right people. It allows you to combat some of the time constraints it would have put on you to have to go and trial and error through it, go and experience each part of the process and figure out and learn that information from hands-on trial and error. You invest in information to combat all of the time you have to sacrifice to learn it the smart way. You feel me? So that's going to be a second one. If y'all still following along, put a 5 in the chat. 5 in the chat. I know we're not counting in chronological order. That's intentional to make sure people ain't sleep. So put a 5 in the chat if you're still following me. So we already discussed you have to invest in resources. We discussed you have to invest in information, and information can drastically vary. The reason why I use the real estate agency, the realtor, is because of everything that has just going on surrounding the real estate market over the last year and a half. It's been very, very insane. And a lot of people have gone against the professional information and guidance to just get whatever their short-term goal was. And now they're paying for it. And they're sacrificing a lot of things that would have been in their best interest had they just taken heed to the right information on the forefront. And so then the third one is going to be information, resources, opportunities. Opportunities is the third thing everybody has to invest in, point blank, period. Opportunities is what gets you. Uncle Rody from Baltimore is watching. Awesome. That third thing is opportunity. More often than not, I don't care what nobody say. I don't care where they at success wise. I don't care where they're at recognition wise. None of that. Opportunities are typically what gets a person from where they are to any level of success you feel like. It's that they capitalize on an opportunity, capitalize on a moment that just gives them the chance to prove themselves. And so what I mean by that is opportunities can come in many shapes, sizes, forms, right? What's a good example of an opportunity, Thomas? Give me more of an explanation. What about last week was a good example of an opportunity?
Yeah, definitely. Whether they're Texas just to do this opportunity, spread the word about the Babylon.
I'm going to take you up on yours. So Thomas said the event we did last weekend, hosted by Radio One, was an opportunity we invested in. And I'm gonna tell you something. he was talking about it was an opportunity because it allowed for us to market the Black market. But I'm a one up him, and I'm gonna say we did invest in an opportunity. We invested in an opportunity to see how large scale events are conducted here locally, right? Because I did a lot in the event and arena, blah blah blah, in DC and other areas. It was interesting to see how a large scale event was conducted here, especially with the incorporation of vendors. It was a great opportunity to invest in, to understand how the infrastructure of how we model stuff versus large scale businesses model stuff. And here's the cool thing about that: we realize, right, just how fundamentally beneficial a lot of what we did varied from the traditional model that is utilized, right? The communication. It was an opportunity to realize how effective our communication was. It was an opportunity to see little nuances that were fundamentally necessary in the system, to understand how certain strategies they executed on worked um, in the best interest of you as a vendor, but also how certain little things streamlined the process and took away their need to actually be as hands-on in the process, right? It also allowed for structuring. So honestly, we invested in the opportunity to understand how it's done at scale in bigger spaces, and what factors were weighed, pro and con, based on the best interest of everybody. We also were able to invest in the opportunity to see firsthand what it's like to be in a large scale event here, um, as a vendor in direct contact with the consumers that are impacted by it. And the feedback was very interesting, as well as the honest feedback from other vendors, right? Because there are conversations you can have when you're not in charge, um, amongst your fellow business owners, that people probably wouldn't be as comfortable to be as transparent about their thoughts, their feelings, or their expectations on. In the event, they were saying it to the person who did it because they were afraid it may put a hindrance on their ability to take advantage of the opportunity again. So those things were invaluable learning opportunities for us. They were invaluable perspectives in that we could invest in, right? It wasn't free to be there, even as a customer, but it also wasn't free to be there as a sponsor or as a vendor. But it was very informative. It was very insightful, and if nothing else, it allowed for us to take away some concrete things that truly work, and some concrete things that were truly problematic in the process. And that takes away a lot of time from testing this out, seeing if it works, seeing if it doesn't work. It takes away the need to get that feedback directly, as it correlates to our own stuff, to understand what people think or feel or expect from it. Um, it it puts an emphasis on what you do or don't need to know. Another opportunity is just resource is inform another great opportunity to invest in is just learning from people who already have mastered it, right? And that kind of sums up what I was just saying too. Being able to invest in people who have already mastered what you aspire to do. That is a opportunity that is once in a lifetime. I'm gonna give you a prime example. We were working in a community that the thing that finally forced us to kind of push the Black market go up our list a little bit was a large scale community development project we wanted to do, like over 900 acres, right? And it's like we wanted to do this project. However, there were some fundamental infrastructure pieces that were missing. And to be able to capitalize on doing so, it would overextend us way more drastically than we should have to, had we just been able to streamline access to more of those resources and connections locally, right? And so, luckily, as we executed, some of those resources started to unfold, those connections that needed to be made. And I was blessed with the opportunity to connect with a local Black developer, right? Because it's really not that many Black real estate developers, like for real. And I was given the opportunity to shadow them. Now, investing, I don't care what you require of me, because I know how valuable your time is in that process. So the fact that you were willing to give me time to be up close, personal, and learn firsthand, that's invaluable. So investing my time into showing up when I need to show up, where I need to show up, how I need to show up for that opportunity, there's no dollar amount you can put on that. You get what I'm saying? That's one of those things where it's just like, just to have personal, upfront, close, intricate the opportunity to have that hands-on expertise exposed to me is invaluable. But it requires something of me. It required of me to have extreme flexibility with my time. It required for me to be receptive of being where I needed to be, when I needed to be, how I needed to be, even if it didn't align with my plans in that moment. It required for me to give my time freely without any tangible return on investment. You get what I'm saying? A lot of people will show up at a job because they know they're going to make $7 an hour, $10 an hour, $12 an hour. Well, in the real estate development industry, there's literally no ceiling. And it's like that in a lot of industries, but there's literally no ceiling. And there is a high demand going unmet for people that look like me being represented in that industry, for community development projects to cater to my community being prioritized in that arena, right? So while on the short-term side, it may be like, damn, I'm sacrificing time, I'm sacrificing revenue sources that I could be making, or revenue I could be making with this time. I'm sacrificing flexibility in my day-to-day. I'm sacrificing this, but it's like, how much this short-term sacrifice is adding how much more value to me if I just invest in this opportunity right now. You get what I'm saying? If y'all are still following along with me, I need to make sure y'all are. If you're still following along with me, somebody is setting this thing ablaze. If you are still following along with me, put a 7 in the chat, y'all. Because Thomas being extra over here. If y'all still following along with me, because it's super important that y'all still are. Because this investing opportunities don't look the same for everybody. It doesn't it doesn't cover the same depths or have the same requirements, but it transforms everything. Devin said information can be the greatest tool to capitalize on an opportunity no one else knew existed. I 1000% agree with that, Devin. I 1000% agree with that, because see, here's the thing. Black people are doing a lot of stuff right now. They're doing a lot of stuff right now. Right? Like right now, these pop-up shops, and this is not like these pop-up shops are happening everywhere. It feels like all the time, right? But now we're going into the cold season where 99% of pop-up shops are not only happening all over the place within the Black community, but they're happening outdoors. 90 to 99% of are happening outdoors. So what does that mean? That means you're about to sacrifice a lot to get into those spaces, or somebody like us who knows stuff that the average person doesn't know, who has resources that the average person can't afford to leverage, who has information about how the infrastructure plays out differently than most people would have accessible to them, now has the ability to do it in a way that can fundamentally be sustainable no matter what's going on outside, no matter what season changes happen, no matter what's transpiring in a moment. These hobby. He said, I want to read this out loud. He said, why is it doing that? Facebook be weird. These hobby shops are happening everywhere. It feels like all the time. A lot of this knowledge here is not reaching our younger veterans of color. We're coming home after one tour of duty. They need more workshops such as this to help veterans of color make it through life. Hands down, I completely agree. We are always our free masterclass, the one that's pinned in the comments. Like, we created that as a resource for our community. Once we realize, one, that when there's this level of things you don't know that you don't know, it's hard to understand the value attached to the bigger picture thing, right? So we rolled out the Get Your Life course first. And the Get Your Life course is on the site if anybody has questions about it or wants to understand what I'm talking about. But we rolled out the Get Your Life course first because it was a culmination of everything we learned and we executed on. However, it happened in tears. It happened over the course of numerous years as well. And so it was like, all right, let's streamline it. But if a person doesn't understand why it matters or how it works or what benefits it adds, it's hard to understand the value it holds in comparison to the requirements. And it really does not require much in comparison to the value. However, we realized people needed some actionable steps to start off with, because we found with the Get Your Life course catering towards our community it was so much information, it was overwhelming, and it crippled people, right? Because it's like, well, there's so much I need to do. I don't know where to start. And it's not, I don't know where to start because you're not given actionable steps to take. It's more so, I don't know where to start because I got a lot of work to do. You know, it's like going from I don't know what I don't know to you've been flooded with knowing so much so quickly and so concisely. Just like, I don't know how to execute on this and not feel like I'm missing something, or I still have something I needed else I should have been doing, or I could have been doing, or I should have done in this order instead. And so for those reasons, we were like, we got to give people simpler, actionable steps they can execute on, they can see. Even if it's like one or two, give them a couple of actionable steps where even if they just go in order, like I did one and then I did two, because the free masterclass consists of 11 money saving and income generating hacks. Some of them are a little bit more intricate, some of them are fairly basic. And so people may be like, you know what, let me start with three. Three seems easy to me. I've just pulled that number out of thin air. I can't remember what threes actually is right now, but that's why 11 income generating and money saving hacks was rolled out. It's like, okay, let's give somebody something simpler, more concise. Even the recording of it is just around an hour. That will allow people to make informed decisions to take one step at a time. Now, funny thing is, after we rolled out the free masterclass, right? Because everybody being home, certain institutions or organizations had captive audiences at higher volumes than ever before. You're talking about your religious institutions. You're talking about your government assistance programs, things of this nature, right? And so one of the first things we attempted to do was try to give this free information to religious leaders to share with their congregation. It doesn't benefit us in any way. However, we did not get anybody that was receptive of just sharing this information that could give their congregation back feeling any type of level of security in the middle of a worldwide pandemic and financial and literally He said he lost the feed. If y'all can still hear me, please, because that is weird. He said I lost the feed, but send me an invite whenever you're back on. That's so weird. Um, so yeah, it's meanwhile, it's like those are the perfect people to share it with in a time of financial uncertainty, in a time of social and environmental insecurity. The best thing you can do is give people actionable steps, information, and resources to allow for their faith and work to coexist. So, by all means, we do this free masterclass monthly. We encourage people to attend live. It is not required. You have the option to attend virtually and get the same benefits. It's 11 free income generating and money saving hacks. Um, while our business core model is focused on the Black community, it is not exclusive to the Black community. Anybody has the ability to tap into these resources. We've had people reach out from every country in the world benefiting from just our free masterclass. We've had people as far as India email us asking for the documents because they didn't save. We've had people literally in Nigeria that I'm assuming my dad or one of my family members on my personal Facebook may have shared it with. So trust and believe. It is definitely resources that are accessible to the entire community, ready to build economically, learn financial literacy, develop actionable steps, and just be able to make progress. We encourage it. I feel like it goes a long way in a sustainable community being able to exist. Like it's cool to get money, but how do you sustain it? Because a lot of people have money moving through their lives like quicksand. You hear me? That money, I swear, that thing is swallowed before it even comes into your hand. Good. So yeah, um, if you guys ever have any questions, by all means, always feel free to reach out. What I recommend, start with our YouTube. Like our YouTube has a lot of financial literacy videos on it. And we're going to get back into these Money Monday lives being about economic empowerment. The Buy Black market has kind of been swallowing it up a bit. However, after today, vendor registration closes for the Buy Black market. And then after Black Friday weekend, the next Buy Black market isn't until Easter. So what we're going to do all of December, all of January is just going to be about economic empowerment. We're not going to use a single Money Monday live to talk about the Buy Black market because it'll have time. So December and January, the end of the year into the beginning of the next year is going to be about everything to economically empower us, to put us in positions where we can live the best version of our lives, with it being attainable in a sustainable method. And I'm looking forward to sharing that to where everybody's ready to go for the ride. I don't care if it's popular. I care about it being effective. So we love you guys to life. See, Thomas, I didn't go an hour. We love you guys to life. If y'all have any questions, definitely feel free to reach out. In the event you want to take advantage of the free masterclass, just text the word masterclass to the 833 number and you'll be able to enroll. That way you'll have the ability, I believe it'll prompt you to find out if you want the ability to attend live or virtual. And then that way you really know. I know the last one is December. When is it, Thomas? The last one is December. It gotta be this. It's either December. I'm not looking at it right now, so I really don't want to make it up. It's either December 13th or December 20th. I think it's December 20th because we wanted to do it before Christmas. So everybody went into the holidays with their economic empowerment at peak tip top. So it's December 13th. The free masterclass, if you attend it live, is only an hour. The one thing we love about doing the live courses and the live free masterclass over the recording is we want to make sure you don't leave with questions unanswered. That's why we do the live ones. That's why I'll Get Your Life course is exclusively live, because it allows for you to leave there with complete answers and as in depth of an understanding as you could have possibly needed in the time that you attended it. So yeah, we love you guys to life. Hopefully everybody makes it out to the Buy Black Market next weekend. It's so crazy, it's this close, and we can't wait to build collectively. In the event you make it out to the Buy Black Market, what we will be doing, this is the perfect time for me to acknowledge it. What we will be doing, Are You Financially Literate, will be happening. So if you have no idea what we're talking about, we do a financial literacy game. Um, I'm trying to figure out how to use this. We do a financial literacy game that allows for you this based around questions from our Get Your Life course, right? And so if you can answer 7 consecutive questions right, you have the ability to win. However, nobody who has ever played Are You Financially Lit Turret has ever won the game based on the real rules of the game. Like, we have let people slide. But yeah, it's fun, it's competitive, it's always prizes. Oh, hold on for a second. It looks like somebody requested to join. Let me see if I can figure out how to use this. I don't really know how to use, I think this is Facebook. It says it's adding, but I don't see nobody coming in. So yeah. Is it? Maybe Facebook's tripping. All right. Well, it doesn't look like it's working. So we love you guys to life, and let's continue to build. Make sure you bring yourselves economically educated and ready for next weekend. Because Are You Financially Lit is going to be lit. Love you guys to life. Mm-hmm.